Hi guys, welcome to the grand finals of Taylor's Debate Open 2019. Congratulations to all teams that made it this far. My name is Darnie. I'll be your chair today. Judging alongside me are Ali, Patrick, Akila, Raihan, Fatin, and Samir. A few house rules. Please keep your phone on silent, keep talking to a minimum, and only leave the auditorium in between speeches. Without further ado, let's start the grand finals of Tedo. Prime Minister, here.
What's that? Channel the inner issue. To a certain extent, I believe that a lot of us here today, we participate in a sport called debating, generally because we all, in some level, face some form of existential crisis, aren't we? Because we don't see a meaning in life, so we come, we spend our weekends here, and we talk about things that don't really matter. Like, what the fuck does policy do?
leader of opposition. Cheers, yeah.
Thank you. Of course. Spiritual and conception of time.
In opening opposition, we think that we are here for a good time and not for a particularly long time. We think that being spiritual and religious is something that is antithetical to what we stand for as millennial, which is why we don't believe it. 2 points for you today. Firstly, we're going to be very specific about what we think millennials look like, the type of characteristics they have, the aspirations that they hold, and therefore the type of things that they will probably want to engage in. And secondly, tell you why a life of spirituality and religiosity is antithetical to that in the variety of ways in which it harms their ability to do things and the interests that they care for. Before that, several points of rebuttal to what we heard from the previous speaker. The first thing I just want to observe is that a lot of the features of what Wesley pointed out about spirituality and religiosity seem to be things that are features of organized religions, right? For instance, Catholicism, or Buddhism, or what have you. What this means is that, and we're very happy to debate that, but what this means is that they also have to take on the baggage of a lot of the other features of organized religion. For instance, the fact that they're more hierarchical. For instance, that they're more dogmatic and more static and less likely to change. And I want to point out that CG is locked into this as well, and they cannot just now say that they are now able to debate a more liberal and less organized version of religiosity and spirituality. The next 2 points that Wesley bring, the first thing is that we are helpless. Because he says that we have the establishment. I would like to point out that you can fight the establishment even if you are just one individual, because power exists in the collectivization of individual voices, not necessarily that you need to exist as an independent establishment as well. We point for the fact that Greta Thunberg, who was able to move an entire movement for climate change. I was just in London, I got literally blocked for 30 minutes because kids were like pouring out of schools. I think that we are able to fight the establishment on that, right? Second of all, he says that we have no knowledge about helpless. I just think this is untrue. The vast majority of millennials are fairly well educated and well informed because of things like Google, because of things like social media, because of the vast democratization of knowledge that we are seeing around the world today that was not available in the 80s and the 90s. But the last thing he says is that millennials can't vote. I mean, millennials span a fairly wide range from the ages of 16 to 30. The vast majority of this age bracket can vote. If you are 18 to 30 or 21 to 30, that's at least 50 to 60% of that age bracket. I just think that's a lie. The last thing he says is that we need solace in the face of uncertainty. But this assumes that what millennials want is merely to accept the world as it is and to give up and to do nothing. We don't think that's true, which is why we're going to now point out what the characteristics of millennials are. The first thing I want to point out about this is that as a millennial, you very often are part or have imbued within a generation-wide resentment against the previous generation. Here are reasons why. Because we think that the vast majority of you would realize that previous generations have screwed over the economy and therefore your life circumstances. They have prioritized personal gain over national understanding or national improvement, and have voted for successive neoliberal governments starting in the 80s that have resulted in things like the rollback of welfare systems, things like the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act and the deregulation of the banking sector that have resulted in a rollback of welfare systems and a reduction in your ability to gain access to help if you need to. There is a narrative that says that you ought to be self-dependent and that if you fail, it was your fault for that. The result of which is that a lot of these millennials cannot find jobs, cannot afford basic amenities, and have an overwhelming feeling of helplessness. I would like to point out that this is the source of the helplessness that Wesley talks about but never actually discusses. The second thing that we will explain about millennials is that they tend to just be less exposed to religious institutions and religious doctrines in the first place as compared to previous generations like their parents, which means that for them, religion and spirituality forms far less a cornerstone of their identity than their parents. They feel less staunchly about these doctrines in the first instance. The sum of this is that your aspiration as a millennial is to get, in the face of things like material deprivation and a lack of spiritual proximity, is that you want to have a relatively comfortable level of tangible material wealth and comfort so that you're able to live the rest of your life out without having to panic over whether you have a roof over your head. But also, we will point out that you want to change the world for the better, for yourself at the very least, but also for future generations. This means that you're more likely to be politically active and informed, that you're kind of atheistic in nature, but also that you have and are more likely to be in tune with the type of causes that matter in this world today. But the last thing I would observe here is that we think that millennials very often recognize an urgency that we need to act right now because of the inevitable march of things like climate change, because of volatile economic recession and all the other circumstances that Wesley talked about in his speech. We think that they recognize that the world they live now is currently unsustainable and they need to do something about it. Why then does a life of a staunch spirituality and religiosity harm them? Four things to note here. The first thing I would point out is that very often religions, tell you that that the material world is temporal. You should not care about what happens right now because it's about the afterlife. And what this means is that they tell you pursuing this life means that you ought not to pursue material goods at all. Given that we think that you as a millennial care about some level of tangible material comfort, this is something that is directly antithetical to your interest. But second of all, we will point out very often that what religions tell you is go further than that in order to gain some form of spiritual point or spiritual guidance or spiritual nirvana, you need to give up actively these creature comforts. And this means that you are putting yourself through material deprivation in order for the hope that you will get spiritual guidance in the first place, which is what Wesley says when he says Jesus will come. And then therefore, because Jesus will come and the end times are here, you ought not to care about what happens in this world. You ought to actively live a life of a monk and not care about any form of material pursuit whatsoever. We think that that is something that is directly antithetical to your interest in gaining material wealth as well. But thirdly, we will point out that religion also contains very specific doctrines. And as I said, I think that the vast majority of these organized religions and religions in general tend to be static. The reason they are static is because they need to cater to a broader umbrella than just millennials, but also older generations who have these neoconservative ideals of what they think the world ought to be. Which means that they will tell you, and religious doctrines will tell you, that you ought to donate to a religious charity as opposed to a political charity of cause that you care about. That you should lobby for these type of illiberal things because that is something that is good for you, and Jesus God will reward you for it in the future. We think this means that you are less likely to care about these political activist causes or actively lobby against these causes in the first instance, which we think is harmful to your interest. But the last thing I will point out is that religion just lacks accountability. It tells you that you shouldn't, that it's not accountable for things, that you shouldn't hold governments accountable because God has a plan and everything is in line with God's plan. What this means is that you're less likely to care about these causes. You're less likely to be in tune with them and to research these causes. This makes you less effective in going for those causes that you care about in the first place. It is directly antithetical to those interests. We are here for a good time, not for a long time. We're very, very proud.
Thank you to the Leader of Opposition. To continue the debate, let's have Deputy Prime Minister. Just a gentle reminder, it would be great if you could use the mic because there are some people in this room with hearing disabilities who cannot hear your speeches. Prime Minister. To continue the debate, let's have Deputy Leader of Opposition. Here, here.
Yes? Millennials are the angriest generation. They are the generation that has witnessed firsthand the wars on terrorism, drugs, and immigrants. The generation that has been devastated by austerity and neoliberalism. The generation that has been denied opportunities and derided as snowflakes for even asking for the ability to lead a comfortable, meaningful life. But the crucial part of the debate that OG misses is that the feeling of helplessness, the feeling that your life is spiraling out of your control, is not a feeling that is solved by giving up control to somebody else. For the past couple of years, for the past couple of decades, millennials have been surrounded by forces that are out of their control. They have been surrounded by government policies, they've been surrounded by norms, they've been surrounded by society. The solution to feeling helpless and like you are being controlled is not to say that you will swap one form of control for another. It's not to say that you will trade the controls of government policy for the golden shackles of religion I am incredibly proud to oppose. This debate is about why, as an individual, you will pick certain forms of happiness over others. I'm going to structure my case into two parts. First of all, I'm going to tell you why religion is not a choice that will be chosen by the average individual and average individual millennial. And secondly, I'm going to talk to you about activism and actual change. Because the comparative of this debate is not actually hedonism, it's about getting off your ass and doing things that matter. First thing I want to talk about is religion. What are the characteristics of religion in this round? Religion requires a certain level of willingness to accept that bad things happen to good people, that there is an overall plan and your suffering is part of an overall plan, and that your eternal spiritual life is more important and should be prioritized over your current life. I think this should be pretty uncontentious, but these are the bedposts of basically every single major religion that I'm currently aware of. Why is this specifically unappealing to the millennial generation? And this is where a lot of Andrew's characterization, which doesn't go responded to, is important. First of all, this is important. Millennials are genuinely struggling to make ends meet at the moment. It is hard to believe as a millennial that you should deprioritize your efforts to make ends meet. It's difficult to believe that you should deprioritize your basic necessities and comforts and give it up for something completely intangible and spiritual. Note that this is especially true when organized religion or most religions don't provide you with a solution. They just ask you to keep accepting your poverty as a way of life. It doesn't tell you, here is how we're going to make tangible steps to improve your life. It merely says, believe and you shall be saved, without allowing them to have anything positive or in terms of tangible change to buy into, which is especially important when they are poor and struggling to rent a couch in their friend's basement. This is increasingly less convincing, especially given the current context. The ages for various milestones have kept shifting across the decades. Okay? 20 years ago, people our age were able to afford houses and cars, and now we're all sleeping in our parents' houses and like struggling desperately to get around. What this means is that waiting to millennials is something that looks like it makes things worse and worse. Because millennials have done nothing but wait. Millennials grew up seeing planes crash into the Twin Towers, okay? Millennials grew up with 9/11. Millennials grew up waiting and waiting and waiting, and they have always constantly been told that waiting will make things better for you. This is part of a plan. Religion coming in and saying it just makes it seem dreadfully unconvincing when we've been waiting most of our lives and nothing much seems to have changed. There's a lack of solace from religion in this piece because it doesn't solve your problem and it's coupled with lavish displays of wealth from the religion itself. Consider how Catholicism, as well as most Christian denominations, have pastors that wear $5,000 Yeezy sneakers but don't actually do anything to help their constituencies. So religions also look incredibly hypocritical to most millennials because they see religions as being systems that want to self-perpetuate as opposed to systems that truly believe in their struggles and truly want to help them. The second reason why religions are unappealing is because millennials have an instinctive distrust of authority. Why is this the case? Because they grew up with government organizations that had plans and had overall of dreams for the country, but none of that has actually materialized. So they are unlikely to trust in additional authorities now coming in and telling you, because look, you have even less ways to hold religions accountable than governments. And as with governments, you have the possibility of voting them out, you have the possibility of getting a human face to your struggles, you have a way to reach out to them and maybe do something about your life. With religions, there is really nothing you can do, because the point of religions is that they're unquestionable and there is nothing you can turn to in order to question, why is my life not going well? The thing I want to say here is that this is especially true because religious governments all over the world have weaponized religion to excuse their own incompetence and negligence. Consider, for example, how in Egypt, religion has been weaponized to say, oh, it was an act of God that this infrastructure keeps failing, that these buildings keep collapsing, that these bridges keep burning. It was not our fault. The problem with religion for millennials is that governments have hidden behind the shield of religion for far too long and not made any effort to do anything for them. That's why they find it unappealing. Third of all, religion tells you to accept your circumstances and accept what you cannot change. Okay, look, millennials are also kind of sick and tired of never getting reasons. Okay? Neoliberalism is important specifically because neoliberalism is a global attitude and ideology that blames the self for problems that happen. Meaning, millennials are constantly told that they cannot make ends meet because they aren't working hard enough. Consider that religion doesn't actually provide you solace. Religion places the blame once again on yourself. Oh, you aren't making ends meet? Better pray harder. Do another round of rosaries. Donate more to charity. You must have sinned somewhere in a past life. This is God's way of punishing you. You might think this sounds extreme, but even a lot of liberal churches do this. And the reason behind that is that religion really do just want to self-perpetuate. And you know who isn't going to contribute into religion? It's people who are told that religion doesn't matter. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is that OG says you have communities for Hillsong and that makes you happy. Yeah, but maybe your communities for Hillsong are also kind of racist and homophobic, so maybe that also doesn't make you happy. I just think saying some things like you have some liberal communities can easily be washed up by saying you have some conservative communities. The second thing I want to talk about is activism and actual change. Millennials have a high awareness that we are the last generation that can actually do anything. So first and foremost, the political will exists. OG says ignorance is bliss, but like the apple in the Garden of Eden, you can't actually turn back whatever knowledge you have and revert back to a state of pure ignorance. It just doesn't happen that way. OG also assumes that our methods of activism are not working. That's not true. Shifts in political discourse are already happening. AOC is just one person, but has already shifted all Democratic Party platforms to the left to the point where Senators Elizabeth Warren are now considered more mainstream than not, which is frankly amazing and a shift that would never have happened even just a decade ago. The Arab Spring was predominantly led by the younger generation. Political protests now are led by 15-year-olds like Greta Thunberg. This debate is primarily a debate about agency. The urge to take back control, to feel like you are the sole person in charge of your life, is a powerful tribalistic one. When you have been told all your life that you have no control, that you should surrender to larger forces of fate, the least appealing thing in the world is to give back control right into the hands of God. Oppose.
I thank the Deputy Leader of Opposition. To continue the debate, let's have Member of Gov. Here, here.
Testing. Hello. Okay.
as a millennial, I think life is pretty damn tough. There are a lot of expectations put on us, and we are expected to achieve so many things in so little time. And I think throughout the opening half of this debate, there are many nuances to the sufferings of these individuals that weren't explained and just conveniently looked over. Just saying things like, oh, prices of houses are rising and education is expensive, doesn't explain the struggles of individuals. And that's why closing government will enter today's debate to explain that the nature of the competitive world makes the lives of this millennial a lot more difficult in order to attain any sort of fulfillment, and explain to you how religion best helps them recognizing that nuance. But before that, let's make it clear what the world on side of closing government actually looks like, right? So this means you prioritize religion over everything. In the most extreme cases, this means only focusing on religion and nothing else, but I think it's unreasonable for opposition to just force us to defend only that scenario. I think the more like reasonable case, or you choose to pray and make sure I pray every single day, and rather than focus on like studying for so many hours, right? The second thing I will say is that it's also unreasonable for us to have to defend the most conservative form of religion, because I think if that is what they want to push, they then have to explain what's the correlation between the most conservative religion and all the benefits that you get from religion. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for them to push that burden onto us. What are the standards to adjudicate this debate? Let's just remember that this is an active debate, and that means it's about which side is easier for happiness to be more accessible to this millennial, and I'll prove to you why closing government best does that. Before I enter into my extension, let's look over some things that opening opposition said, right? But more of an overview, I think they failed to answer the question as to why is it a burden for this millennial to, for some reason, change the world. I mean, yeah, you grew up seeing a lot of tragedies, and these are things which, like, hopefully can be avoided in the future. But from the perspective of this millennial, why is that more important than achieving your own form of mental, like healthy mental state, being comfortable in the world that you're living in, and just looking forward to the next day in your life is something which needs to be prioritized over the lives of other individuals in the context of an active debate. Have a seat. But even if it's true that individuals do grow up wanting to create bigger change, then I think there's a minority case of individuals. If it was true that a lot of millennials are naturally incentivized to help individuals, then all of us would have already gotten off our asses to make some sort of change. They have to prove as to why helping is the most form of benefit to this actor. Have a seat. But another thing they wanted to argue was that now you will definitely live a poor quality life because you only choose to prioritize religion. What's the outcome of that poor quality life and what that actually looks like? We still don't quite understand. Sure, opening government said you get some form of solace, but we would extend and explain what that solace means. What does solace mean? This means you are at peace with yourself and you feel that you are okay and you can still carry on through those very struggles. Having some form of hope and knowing that it's not the end of the world and you do not have to go and kill yourself simply because you failed a particular exam. And I think this personal realization that things aren't as bad as people tell me and I can still carry on with my day is what keeps these individuals going. I think that's extremely important. But we would say, have a seat, is that in religion, oftentimes you meet individuals with similar mindset, which also means that you further grow your social circle, you make more friends, you feel more comfortable, you have people you can talk to with your struggles, and that is the benefit that religion brings. But also, it's not like you're so poor that you're just going to die. I think religions also open up things like soup kitchens. You can go get free food at the mosque before the Friday prayers, for example. And yes, basically, these are benefits that these individuals get as a byproduct of prioritizing religion. Have a seat. Let's enter my extension. What's the nature of this competitive world and why it makes the lives of this millennial a lot more difficult to attain fulfillment in that side of the house? I think opening government listed a lot of examples like money, jobs, and that religion gives solace. I think it's a lot more to that, right? I think a lot of these struggles exist because people are competitive. People are competitive in being very materialistic, and that's why prices of products go up. That's why the standards in order to become the most successful person in the world constantly rises every single year. I think a simple example to this is that 50 years ago, the criteria to stand out is a lot lower than now. In fact, that in the past, for example, if you wanted to qualify for a scholarship, you just had to get like 5 A's. But now you need to get all the A's, all the A stars, and therefore it's a lot more difficult. And this kiasu competitive nature generally makes society do two things. The first is they pressure millennials to succeed, and secondly, it means these millennials then compare their own value to other individuals. Before I explain as to why that's particularly harmful, I'll take over.
Thanks. So all your rebuttals sounded exactly like OG's solace, but also if religion is so good at providing solace and comfort to people, why exactly are millennials leaving religion in droves?
I think in status quo, because of the competitive nature, a lot of individuals are lied into believing that that is definitely the best way in which you can live your life. They are lied into believing that going to Oxford and Cambridge means that you'll become the most successful individual in the world. They think the biggest paycheck is the only road to success, and that means they are blinded from seeing the true benefits of religion. Now let's get into the extension. What do we mean by individuals pressuring millennials to succeed? This means they get blamed if they mess up. Because now, especially when education is so accessible and information is everywhere on the internet, that's why a lot of individuals get blamed if they mess up their exams. That's why they are scolded for not trying hard enough. Because apparently right now, it's a lot easier compared to the past. And this is what this looks like is that it comes from friends and family, right? And this means that the life that the millennial lives in the world of opposition is a life of dependency on the validation and support of a lot of other individuals. In principle, we will see that this is bad and it's unsustainable because you're not prioritizing your own interests. But more often than not, even if you get that validation, you're more likely going to doubt what these people say. You will still ask yourself, are they just saying this because they're my friends, because they're my family? But with God, I think it's different because you cannot question that. You will just say, okay, I pray 5 times a day, and that means I'm this much closer to getting into heaven. Let's work towards that end goal. That's why you already shift the mentality of these individuals. But very quickly, let's talk about comparing your values to other individuals. When people are unsure and they're insecure, more often than not, they will doubt themselves. They would feel like they are not as good as these other individuals who are working much better jobs, and they will always feel like they are worse and less of a person. I think in the world of closing government, what religion does is that it lowers the barrier to success. You do not have to work endless hours a day, just pray to God. Even if it means that you want to deal with the victims opening opposition wants to talk about, we can pray for these people in closing government and give them that form of support, and it gives you that form of stability. I think these are unique benefits only closing government gets. The point in which we explain to you how these struggles occur and how we overcome them. Thank you.
I thank the member of government to continue the debate. Let's have member of
Judges, we're really sorry. We have to catch a flight, so we have a flight. We're gonna zoom now.
Okay,
sorry.
It's okay. Go.
Bye. Bye, Jake. Bye. Bye.
That was true.
Guys, by default. Wow. Can't go forward. Sorry.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you that for a person born in a staunchly religious family, you have little autonomy over the things you can do or say. Your thoughts, your actions, all determined by what religion prescribes to you. As a millennial, choosing to adopt a staunch religious or spiritual lifestyle is to surrender your autonomy, the only thing that you have control in a world of chaos right now, to a faceless being up there where solace might not actually accrue upon you as an individual. And that's the assumption coming up from the government side, that you assume that the moment you are staunchly religious, and that's the only means to which you can access this solace that creates some semblance of what the world is right now. This debate is about the trade-off that exists, and whether that trade-off is worth it. In an increasingly modernized world where information and choices are readily available to you, should you limit all those choices that are currently granted to you in exchange for a solace that might not necessarily accrue? What exactly do millennials want in this world? They want choices, they want autonomy, they want happiness. They want to make sense of the world we live in. We would suggest, coming up for closing opposition, that the autonomy you possess is the greatest access to which you are able to make sense of the world. So this is how we differentiate ourselves from opening opposition. Because opening opposition had a very grand vision of what they want the world to be. They want a world where individuals were out there fighting and trying to support activism. They want to create large changes in the world. We are going to talk to you on an individual level why choice and autonomy that is granted, absent of this religious faith that you want to lock individuals in, is significantly more important. I want to clear two things up within this debate. The first thing I want to be clear about is that this is not a world where opposition says that individuals cannot access religion at all. And that's why the point of information from Shemi is important. Because what we suggest is that even religion, when not practiced staunchly, is also able to grant solace to some extent, assuming that religion necessarily results in solace. So even if the extent of solace might be different from you being very staunch, which I'm sure the extent of it is, the strict adherence of being staunch is what directly contradicts and conflicts with your ability to seek solace. Something I'm going to explain later on in my speech. But the second thing I want to clarify is what type of religious faiths are more likely to be adopted in the world of government bench. And we're going to give you actual structural reasons to believe that the Abrahamic faith or the socio-cultural context you are in is likely to be the one that you would therefore adopt those religions. This claim coming from government is that as a millennial, you can choose to adopt a religion or spirituality that's less likely to be discriminatory towards other forms of identities. This is untrue. One, you can only be staunch when there is a strong establishment behind it. Because it might be true that you can do certain acts of religious faith to fulfill certain religious doctrine, but at the end of the day, the establishment is what affirms your conception of what it means to be a staunch Muslim or to be a staunch Christian. But the second thing I want to say is that religion, or the decision to be spiritual and religious, does not actually exist in a vacuum. That is to say, if you're an American individual, your whole life you spend it interacting with other Christians or Catholics within that area. You're more likely than not to adopt a religion that's closest towards your own socio-cultural context. And given the fact that Christianity and Abrahamic faith plays a large majority in the world, it's more likely than not in the vast majority of cases, this millennial will adopt that religion. The first thing I want to talk about is where we clearly differentiate ourselves from opening opposition. Is that I want to talk to you about why you go through an immense emotional flux that these millennials go through upon adopting a staunch religiosity. There are two things here. The first thing I want to say is that the reality is that as a millennial, you are exposed to information from all around the world and all around you constantly. For example, news of police brutality. For example, climate devastation. For example, the kind of oppression of women within patriarchal societies. Staunch religion is not a switch that turns off all your thoughts about the world. It is not about feigning ignorance under the sign of what government bench claim it to be. In fact, this is the worst case scenario. There's a constant wrestling within your own mental state. Because if you truly believe that God is an omnipotent individual and all benevolent, you now start questioning why all these problems manifesting in society or are manifesting to yourself is currently going unresolved. That is to say, you don't actually get the kind of solace the government bench wanted to talk about because you're constantly in conflict with what God tells you that is able to resolve versus the reality that remains unchanged in the world of government bench. So thank you. So not only do you not obtain solace, but you become unhappy as a consequence of it because you feel powerless and you hope that God will resolve them. It's what hurts you, especially when you feel that sense of abandonment for God, that God is not out there to reach out towards you and provide the kind of assistance you need. But the second thing, and this is really very important because it deals with closing government, is that religion inherently makes you feel inadequate about yourself because it's a constant pursuit of perfection, of what God created in the minds of individuals. That you are only a staunchly religious individuals when you're able to attain that very same sense of perfection when you read the Bible, when you read the Quran. In all instances, your inability to achieve that image of perfection in your head is what makes you unhappy as a result coming up from government bench as a whole. What is the comparative here? Restoring autonomy and agencies will allow individuals to grant the greatest amount of access to understand the constant flux that they are in and to make choices that bring them closer towards achieving their end utility. But before I move on to the second part as to why religion is inherently limiting and restrictive of the choices that you can make, I want to deal with it.
So how do you get solace if you believe partially in both religion and the current value system? Like your conflicting values mean more internal conflict, more wrestling. If you're staunch, at least you're just blissfully ignorant, there's no conflict.
So as I said, you're not actually blissfully ignorant because you can't actually block out the material standards that you are in. That is to say, not only do you have one standard you have to be in constant conflict with, there are two scriptures of adherence that you have to deal with, right? But the second thing that I therefore want to talk about is that the trade-off you have to make in a modern context. As much as there's a lot of screw-ups in the world, the modernity that frames society has led to unprecedented choices that individuals can get. Legislation of gay marriages, greater freedom for women to pursue jobs in the world. What we would say is that religion is incredibly limiting because there exists a set of terms and conditions that you as an individual needs to fight for. That is to say, you have to live up to those expectations or else you are staunch. Attaining fulfillment when you have a say over your choice and decision is important. Let's not make light of the degree of empowerment that you can get when you're able to make a semblance of a choice within a world that's in constant flux. This constant comparison and constant competition that CG wanted to talk about is a bit strange. Because one, competition in the mortal world versus competition in the religious world as to who is pious still exists. But two, there's two strict sets of regulations that you want to abide by. Not only do you want to live up to the strict adherence of a religious scripture, you also have to live up to the strict expectations of what individuals in society expects from you. For an individual to be free from these psychological damages, closing opposition.
I thank the member of opposition to continue the debate. Let's have government work. Hear, hear.
This world will always tell you that you must seek validation from anyone and anything. So it is true for man to suggest that religion will also ask you to do the best that you can. There is some validation in everything, but it is imperative. Whether or not it's easy to get validation from religion and the scriptures that you read versus your parents, your friends, the television, the media, that is the comparison of validation that you can attain under the sign of closing opposition. I will do three things. In my speech, I'll talk to you about why Farhan is a large chunk of what I'm intend to talk about and why that is extremely important to kind of closing case, and then I'll go and take up the next few hours after that. So in Iman's speech, he actually tells you about why the reason is why we're very from opening is because we tell you what it means to live a fulfilling life. A lot of times, I think many of the houses in here say that a lot of your actions increase to how much you value your life. That's often not true. Our actions are only as good as we attain validation from different types of parties. So the only way I can weigh or value my actions is if my parents tell me, Kim, that was a good job. Or my friends tell me, yeah, I agree with that. Or my priest tells me, you know what, go a little bit further. A lot of that validation, we would suggest in the positive CG is that it's easier to attain that validation from our side for three reasons. The first reason is that what does validation look like under their sort of house and why it's so accessible? The first thing is that validation always changes. So your parents will tell you, you should study hard, and then you get an A, and then after that you go to UCL, and you can get to UCL, but that standard always changes in accordance with what they think you should do in your life. The second thing is that a lot of times the people in which you value in your life are because you form very strong connections to them, and therefore you credit their opinions very strongly. That's why your friends also tell you whether or not you do a good job, and that's why you weigh your actions and your capacity based upon the individuals that you surround yourself with. And we think those standards are what that are inaccessible. So it's not so much that you cannot fight the patriarchal standards of what society is, or that you cannot fight the economic crisis that's happening out there. It's that people continuously push you to do the best that you can, and you can never attain that standard as a whole. I want to give you a comparative that we have in regards to religion. We can be very nitpicky, we can. They can say that you have like maybe, they can say you can have maybe 10 people to please. You have to please like 10 scriptures of yourself, but it's always a comparative. And I want to tell you why religion is easier for you to validate. The first thing I want to say is that in essence, right, the one thing that we cannot question is that religion always tells you to be inherently good. This means that your actions are inherently good. This means that to the best of your capacity, you try to help other individuals. This means that even your small actions like opening a door for someone has a weightage in this world. I think following that as well as that, things like you must love one another, things that are majorly very accessible to the general public and to the majority of individuals of the world. So I think it's extremely unfair that they suggest that you must fight the structures of the world. But I'm going to tell you that the reason as to why you are pushed in that direction is because you must attain validation from a specific person or a specific individual. And I think under our side, if we could change the process of validation and we see validation from, I think religion gives you better alternative. The second thing I'm going to rebut this. Can you have a seat, please? The first thing I want to do is I want to take up from this debate as well. So the first thing he tells you is that you are in a tug between whether or not God is good because you see a lot of failure in the world, a lot of sadness. I actually don't think religion is extremely beautiful. Nor do I think religion tells you that the world's going to be great. In many parts of the scriptures, we show you that crucifixion happens at the expense of the world. And many parts in the world will tell you that there are, if I'm not mistaken, 7 levels of hell in Islam, and it's very drastic to the standards which we give it. Or how they play out to you as well. So all of these things never prove to you that you can fix all of these things. I think it shows you 3 things about religion puts you forward. I think the first thing it shows you is that you are a piece of puzzle in the bigger picture. And this means that you probably have no autonomy to control the bigger outcomes of the entire universe, but you play a small part in it as well. That's why religion tells you that you ought to pray. That's why religion tells you that you ought to donate every single piece of thing. Before I got kicked out of church, I remember my priest telling me that if you have 200 ringgit versus 20 cents, we rather that 20 cents because it puts at there's some sacrifice that you have to make as an individual, not based on how other individuals donate to the world, but based on your own individual capacity and what you can do as an individual person that determines whether or not you're a good individual as a whole. Religion might be within another person, and I think that is why the side of opposition is horrible because it always points to another person after that, and that is why you can never access a validation or general happiness as a whole. But last thing I want to say is that oftentimes we seek validation from ourselves as well, and the reason that's why we are not a good arbitrator of that is we always downplay ourselves, and that's why all these actors like your parents, your friends, even yourself are horrible validation standards. But the reason that's why you favor them is because they are important individuals in your life. If you could change the incentive structure to individuals to care about different things and peg the standard of yourself with different things, I think that's the accessible standard of validation that you can have and the closing. The second thing I want to say in regards to CEO is that because you're a bigger picture, you oftentimes don't blame yourself for all the horrible things that happen in the world, because you realize that God has a bigger plan for you. This means that even if you can do the best that you can, the autonomy or the control that you have as an individual is one that's already planned out by a higher being that you cannot have control of. So even if that is the case, even taking out CO and O as a comparison is that you will blame yourself because you're in a tug of war with everything else. That is not true, because a lot of times you pack the standard not by yourself, but you do something to please a higher being above that, and therefore your life wouldn't have changed even if you conducted certain things, because it's really a plan set for you and a path that you ought to follow either way. The last one is I want to take out OO on 2 levels. The first level I want to take out OO is that they have 2 assumptions. The first assumption that they have is that you need to act on all injustices and material goods only make you a fulfilling life. The first thing I want to say is that if we change incentive structures, that means we also change the kind of things that surround us. People are liberal because maybe they are surrounded by liberal news or liberal media.
people are liberal because maybe their friends are huge activists of environmentalist movements. If we can disassociate ourselves from all those things and surround myself with appropriate information, like for example, religious, we only read religious scriptures, we only watch religious news, for example. Our app has like 50 Bible app on your phone that's like electronic, so you can check what scripture is today. If you can surround yourself with very particular scriptures and very particular information as to how you can access religion, then this incentive structure of a person also changes because that's the only thing you seek validation from. The second thing I want to say is that it is also true. The way that we deal with that isn't to suggest that we can opt for the world and better the world. Oftentimes, religion just tells you maybe you can donate a piece of your money to your religion, you can pray for another person, then read the rosary 5 times. That's what they told you. I tried that, but it didn't work. But at least I know that I had the best of my capacity to do what was the best I could have done. The second thing I want to say is the idea of materialism. This one really started. The one thing I want to say is that if you cannot change the standard in which you peg yourself to, that means the standard always changes. To have a material lifestyle, you also wouldn't be happy because that means that you must peg yourself to the CEO of some other industry. You must peg yourself to your neighbor that's probably has a bigger house than you. So even if you have a materialistic lifestyle that all must afford to you, that lifestyle is one that's insustainable, but also is one that's unfulfilling to the very least because you must always compare yourself to the person next to you. But last thing I want to say is that comparison never ends because there are 7 billion people in this world. There's always going to be someone richer than you, someone that's prettier than you, someone that just has more happiness in comparison to you, and that standard will never change if you continuously peg your standard that you cannot achieve. Very proud to.
Thank you to Government Whip to end this debate. Let's have Opposition Whip. Here.
As someone who used to be a Christian and a very, very staunch one at that, let me explain why I left the church. I think it's the lie for the entirety of the government batch to make just make the assumption that at the point at which you buy into religious practices and spirituality, that automatically grants you a solace that will last for the rest of your life. That is not true. And I think that in this debate as a millennial, we need to look at the calculus of an individual based on, I think, for the lack of a better term, because we're debating the utility of each decision. I want to first talk about the emotional utility of this particular decision, directly dealing with the closing government. They tell us, look, competition is less in a religion because you can make piecemeal efforts and that's enough to make you happy. In a religion, like Christianity or Islam, for example, the standard that you are held up to is perfection. You have a structural inadequacy that is built into you, and your priest will tell you that every single time you have a gaining thought, every time you wanted more money for yourself, every time you were too masked, you get out of bed in the morning, go for Sunday school, you were sinning. It wasn't even just that you didn't do these things, but the very thought of those things were things that were meant to make you feel guilty, make you feel further from salvation, and make you feel like a bad Christian. In comparison, we would argue that even in the world that we are in today, disparate sources of validation, like for example, your friend telling you that you look pretty today, right? Maybe look a little bit more like that person in a particular media article, or for example, maybe doing a little bit better on your test today. These different material sources of validation are disparate. You can get them from different locuses, and you're able to pick and choose the place in which you surround yourself in. The difference is religion is totalitarian, and the inadequacy that you feel is something that is structural, and is in fact exactly what religions use to keep you within that. That's, I think, CG out of the debate, because they want to tell your comparatives. Your comparative is literally one in which man was born a sinner and can never reach the standard of what God tells you that you ought to reach. Let's talk about OG. OG says solace, that in a world in which you can't change anything, let's at least try to do a little bit or something. Oh, sorry, before that, one last thing about CG. They say, if you have 20 cents, you can just give the individual capacity. It is not, right? Because nothing that you do will ever be enough. Right? So if I give up something today, like how much more do I have to give up tomorrow? I could feel bad about the fact that I don't have more money to give the church as well. Maybe I didn't work hard enough to earn more money to give to my mosque or my church. All the competition talking about the material ways in which the world is like and the kind of pressures that you feel intersect religion in a particular manner because they always tell you to be the brightest light that you can be for God, for example. They always tell you, for example, that there's always more that you can do. So if I pray 5 times today, should I pray 10 times a day? Should I dedicate every waking second of my life to the church? They should say that most people can't do. Solace, right? They say you're going to have solace because you feel that you can't do anything, but at least, I don't know, in religion, you feel some sort of innate happiness. That's not true. Again, from the religious perspective, you are rarely ever happy, right? I think there is a lie to suggest that religious people are any happier than you are. Because I think that as an individual of rational mind, especially as a millennial that probably is quite educated and etc., you will always ask yourself, why do bad things happen in this world? Why does God want me to do certain things? Why was I born a woman? Why was I born gay? Why was I born poor? God, why are you not speaking to me today? The number of days, right, as a staunch religion, I freaking sat in my bed, wasting my time crying about why the hell Jesus Christ isn't giving me a sign that I am a loved one when I don't feel the love from the God that you are talking about. Those are times in which the solace doesn't exist. But those are inherent part of your life because you won't be able to always feel as if you're connected to that God. And at the point at which that is the only thing that you rely on, when you want to give up all material comforts for that, I don't think you get any solace. Opening.
So yeah, the answer to that is if you believe in a religion, the answer is that it's part of the plan. But also, if you're structurally likely to be poor and disempowered, why not delude yourself by believing there is meaning to your poverty?
Right, that's exactly what we're talking about right now. So I think all want to talk about how we should get off our ass and do something about changing the structure of the world. I think what closing gives you, what Farhan gives you specifically, is why in that trade-off, even that you can't necessarily have emotional solace all the time, why we think the trade-off on our side is significantly better is the choice that you have to make. I want to deal with this question then about what happens even if you believe that it is part of a plan. Just because it is part of some divine will that God wants you to have, no, doesn't mean that you don't still feel hunger. Doesn't mean that you don't still feel loneliness. Doesn't mean that you don't still feel sexual attraction or the fact you can never be with someone of the same gender and therefore will never be able to be in a marriage or be a perfect Christian. It doesn't mean, for example, you don't feel the pain of divorce from a broken family and etc. The difference here is that on our side, we give you the carte blanche to go out there and find those happinesses for yourself instead. By telling you that you don't have to hold yourself to the strictures of that particular religion, but go out there and buy that car if it makes you happy, right? Go out there and have as much gay sex as you want if it makes you happy. No, thank you. Go out there and be an empowered woman that doesn't conform to the idea that the man must be the head of the household if those are things that make you happy. In response to this, no, they tell us, no, but you can just opt into spirituality. You don't have to go into all of the strictures of religion. But that's precisely the analysis from Farhan they want to deal with. Firstly, being that this debate doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens as a millennial that grows up in an area in which Christianity and Islam have the most domination in terms of the discourse that currently exists. But two, at the point at which you buy into religious stricture, you can't change that religion because priests and the Pope are doctrinally the most powerful people in the religion, and as part of being a good religious human, you are supposed to listen to what they tell you. So everything that they tell you about how you shouldn't be eating pork, everything they tell you about how you ought to feel like shit about yourself, are all things that you are honor bound to listen to, and are all things that you are not be able to fight against in your attempt to be better in order to be better and happier in your faith. So the solace that they speak of is inherently tied to you listening to all of these doctrines and having to follow them out at every single step of the way. The next thing I want to talk about is about why exactly we think that materialism is far more likely to gain you that happiness and is far more guaranteed outside the house. The reason for that is because we think that materialism doesn't have to be in comparison to other people all of the time. That's why we have like movements that say like, body positivity. We have movements that say you should go and find your own hobbies. We have movements that say it's okay to live a small, contented life. And I think that those are the individual moments of happiness that are far more valuable to individuals as opposed to constantly chasing some level of perfection that can never exist for you. That to the extent to which you hate your life, at least you have the freedom to kill yourself, as opposed to, for example, feeling as you can't even escape that misery because God tells you that you ought to do that. So I think that individuals can find happiness, their unique identity that they feel as a result of that materialism. But most importantly, I think what they do is they don't shackle themselves with expectations for God that wants perfection. They don't shackle themselves to not be able to do what they want to do that might make them happy as a result of religion in a way that they cannot fight back against. Thank you.
Okay.